evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. Papa Boris here with some more Darkest Dungeon. A few people actually have asked me to continue the series, which is great because I didn't think anyone actually cared. What I realized is that I was playing utterly horribly, and because I do like to play with some level of skill in my videos, I'm pretty ashamed of the videos I've made so far. We're going to go ahead and delete that old file, start a new one, and hopefully do a better job. Let's call this... not sucking. I can't make an exclamation mark? Can I make a question mark? Nope, can't make a question mark. Alright, we're going to have to do not sucking apostrophe. No, we'll just do not sucking. So, wow. This game's pretty complicated, but I have to thank the people who posted comments and extolled me, exhorted me is the correct word, to play differently, because when you make just small adjustments, it makes a really huge difference to the game. We can chat a little bit while we go through the tutorial. Basically, what I learned is that the Plague Doctor, whom I relied on so heavily, is actually a bad and borderline unplayable character. The Occultist, whom I sort of dismissed, is in fact a bad character and doesn't need to be played with. The Leper, whom I dismissed, is actually really good and one of my favorite characters now. And instead of playing with 2 supports and 2 hitters, you really need to play with 3 hitters and a support. Or you could also play with no supports at all, but one thing that I'm still hung up on is I really can't get away from playing with a Vestal. I find that bad things happen sometimes, people get damaged, and having that healing available for the whole party is really, really crucial. So that's the one thing I'm still kind of closed-minded about, is I pretty much always have a Vestal in my party, but in pretty much every other respect, the way I play the game has completely changed, which just goes to show what an amazing game it is. So, starting out, you get a Crusader and a, what's this guy called? Oh, Highwayman, and they're both really good classes, I find. Then you get a Plague Doctor and a Vestal. The Vestal's amazing, because I, again, basically can't play the game without one of those. But the Plague Doctor that you get really sucks. So the hardest missions of the game, in some respects, are actually the second and the third. The second mission because you're still stuck playing with a Plague Doctor who is terrible. And the third because you haven't unlocked the guild yet, so you can't change people's skills around. But once you get past the second and third missions, things get significantly easier, of course, provided that you play the game right and not stupidly the way that I played it. Okay. One of the key ideas in this game is that you need to go for characters that have good multi-targeting abilities, because generally dealing a little bit of damage, or not a little bit, but dealing damage to several characters is better than dealing damage just to one. It might not seem that way at first, it might seem like you're just sort of tickling the enemies and it's not actually worth it. This is always trapped, isn't it? But as your heroes level up, and you improve their weapons and their skills, the multi-targeting damage abilities just get so good. It's crazy to not play with them. One thing that I'm finding is that the quirks system, which is, much touted in this game, where everybody has these, traits and stuff, doesn't really matter all that much, in my opinion. You can mostly just ignore the quirks. I honestly find myself at the sanitarium usually just getting rid of the quirks that prevent somebody from being healed at a certain place, or the ones that make people like turn over objects, even that you'd want to normally pass by. Like Curious makes somebody just dig into everything, which can cause all sorts of problems. But other than that, the actual combat relevant ones just don't seem to matter very much, so I kind of hope that system gets, an overhaul so it's more significant. One of the things I made in my last gameplay is I decided not to upgrade the stagecoach, because instead I preferred to save my papers for the blacksmith shop. I think that is a mistake, because you can get into some trouble early on if you leave the stagecoach unupdated and you don't get good classes. Like if you get 2 occultists, or like Jester's the other unplayable trash class, I still think, in my opinion. So there's like 3 classes that are trash. If you end up just getting stuck with those, you can end up getting into a rough early start and having to pay tons of money to heal everybody's stress, or just run out of heroes entirely. So I do think it's worth it to upgrade this once. I'm not going to upgrade it twice. 6 papers goes a long way at the blacksmith shop, so 3 per mission, should hopefully prevent us from getting screwed too much. Again, like I said, the first, I guess if you count the tutorial as mission number 1, the tutorial and the mission after the tutorial, if we call that number 2, and then the mission after that, number 3. Those are the kind of the hardest ones because you don't have the guild yet. You're stuck with whatever skills these people have. Oh my god, this is bad. So we don't have the blinding gas or the incision. And then for the healer, at least we got dazzling light and the single target heal. I need the group heal, however. So that'll be a priority. Alright, let's go ahead and get Get 8 food, because sometimes you gotta eat twice. I'm only gonna get 3 torches? Is that gonna be enough? I'll get 3 torches. And then that. That was the other thing I was doing wrong, is I was always playing at maximum light in order to maximize my odds of surprising the enemy and getting scouting. The thing is, though, that you can get scouting and when it's dark, and as for surprising the enemy, it's not that big of a deal. Compared to the fact that if you don't play at full light all the time, you can, first of all, save tons of money not having to buy torches. And I mean, that's like 75 per torch. It sort of adds up over time. And then more importantly, when you play and it gets a little bit darker, you actually get more loot, which is obviously good. That helps, you know, over the course of the game. And then you also get more crits, which helps relieve stress, which is good. So I do think that it's better to play in the dark. Now, whether you play in the pitch blackness or just, you know, in the dim to shadowy zone is kind of up to you. But I definitely would not recommend playing at 100 light level. It's just not worth the expense. You don't get enough benefit. Actually, wait, I don't know why I complained about this pre-skill. She has great skills. The only bad one is Hand of Light. The other 3 are exactly the 3 I want to use. We're going to go for Judgment here, because these guys have stun resist, so the Dazzling Light's not going to stun them. And the damage mod is much smaller on the Judgment. This actually has a chance of killing it in 1 hit. Hey, crit. Isn't that nice? Get some early stress heals here. Okay, now the Grape Shot Blast has a chance of killing each one of them, or I could go for the Open Vein, which might more likely kill one. Now let's just go for the multi-shot. Alright, got 2 of them to die. That's excellent. So that's fewer stresses on me. He resists the stun, which doesn't really matter that much. So the Plague Doctor is a terrible class. I really used to love it because it's so cool and all, but the problem is her stun is for the back 2 lines, so when you're fighting something up front, you might not be able to stun them. If there's something, you know, back there, you just can't use your stun. So that's the Blinding Gas I was so big a fan of. The other problem is it has a stun base of 100, not 125, like the Barbarian's Yop, so it can easily be resisted. The Noxious Blast deals a lot of damage when you factor in the Blight, but it can be resisted and it's single target. The only multi-target attack is Plague Grenade, which deals damage over time and very little damage up front, and the Blight can be resisted. So it just doesn't deal multi-target damage, doesn't really do very good single-target damage, doesn't have good healing. I mean, it can heal Blight and bleed, but it only heals for 1, so it just doesn't do anything. Doesn't kill monsters, doesn't help your team. Bad class. Bad class. This is actually a really tough battle, especially if you're surprised. Yeah, this could go south in a hurry. Alright, this Paladin, I unfortunately have not given him Holy Lance yet, though I would have liked to, so we're going to have to spend the Priest's turn here, getting the Crusader back up so he can actually attack. Holy Lance, I do think, is a critical skill for the Crusader, so that in just such a situation, he can attack something when he gets out of the front 2 spots. Okay, so Point Blank Shot is terrifying, because that could have just, like, killed the Highwayman on a crit. Luckily, I got a lucky dodge there. So, we started off skipping quite a few turns. These guys are still at full health, and this is not good. If I'd had a Blinding Gas, I could have at least stunned these 2, maybe, but instead I'm going to have to just take the damage. So this is, like I said, you know, the first couple of missions, in a way, are like the hardest ones, because you don't have the right skills yet, and a little bit of bad luck in the early missions can screw you over. Okay, wow, 2 dodges on the Point Blank Shot. That is incredibly lucky. The Zealous Accusation is a really good skill because it hits the first 2 enemies. However, there's only 1 enemy here, so I might as well use the higher damaging Smite. Is this guy going to die? He's going to take 2 plus 3 is 5. He's at 8, so he's not going to die. Well, I can't hit anybody with the Noxious Blast anyway besides him, so let's make him die. Good. He's going to die. He's going to bleed out. We're gonna slide him back. There's no reason to hit this apart from stress relief. If the enemy bleeds out, you don't get stress relief. If you hit him, you do get stress relief, but this guy's at 0 stress. This isn't that useful. I'm gonna actually slide him back so we can start grape shotting. And I'm gonna use a heal here. Cause, well, see, I can try to judgment something and heal herself. Or I can go for the Crusader, who's gonna probably take some more damage. These guys actually have less health than the Crusader. He just has more total health. Alright, I need to get to work on these guys. That was a really, really strong hit. And I heal up. If I hadn't missed last time, this guy would actually be dead. Alright, Blanket Fire is continuing to hurt me. So if he'd been dead, I wouldn't have taken this crit. That's a bunch of stress. And the health situation's getting a bit scary. Now at least we can finally do the Zealot's Accusation. They dodge it. Oh dear. Oh, that's unfortunate. So that's lucky. But I really need to kill this guy before he can hit me again. If he blights, he'll die, and he resists. Okay, well, do I heal somebody now? I gotta heal somebody now. I think it would be too risky. I just have to hope I get to go before he gets to go again. Okay, lucked out. Got to kill him before he got to do anything to me. I could have been a bit slow, try to give the priest another chance to heal. Hard to say. Okay, we got some food, which is actually not bad because I'm only going to need at most 8 food. Probably only 4, so we're going to feed the Crusader. He's the only person with a high enough maximum hit point total that he will actually heal for 2. If I had fed anybody else, they would only heal for 1. Okay, everybody heals a little bit. Alright, we are not at the darkest level, so let's go ahead and keep the light there in case this is a battle. It's not. So let's go down this way. What I found is that in these complete all the room battles quests, it's generally not a good idea to leave these rooms hanging off to the side, because you might just get screwed and have to backtrack all the way if there's a battle there. Better to backtrack only a little bit up front. Well, I could have skipped it. So the health is a little bit of a concern here. The good news is that the most stressed party member is this Plague Doctor, whom I will gladly toss away in a heartbeat. There's no way I'm upgrading any of her skills or anything. It's just a terrible, terrible class. Unless I get really unlucky and all 3 classes are the Jester, the Plague Doctor, and the Occultist. In which case, I'd still probably just throw this one away and get a new one. Just to get rid of the stress. Alright, so I did have to eat twice. Good thing I bought 8 food. Let's go ahead and pop a couple of torches. The battle is in the last room. So, as long as we don't die, I really don't want to lose the Crusader, the Highwayman, or the Vestal right now, because I might not get them back for a while. Oh, this is bad. Well, hopefully we get some good grape shot hits. 5, 4, and 5 is pretty good at this stage of the game. Stress, I'll take stress over health damage because stress isn't going to make me lose the mission. Do I heal or do I kill? Alright, let's try to kill this. 5 damage is doable. Alright, so that's less stress for everyone. Hopefully the Crusader gets to go before these skeletons do, so he can zealously accuse them and have them die. Nope. Oh, this could be bad. So that's stress for everybody, and the Plague Doctor's a death's door. So now I gotta decide if it's worth trying to save her or just letting her float off into the ether. Alright, we're gonna go for the one with more health, because if he gets blighted, he should die. Oh, we missed. Doesn't matter what I did. Okay, I really need this Crusader to go. Thank you, Crusader. Ah, doesn't quite kill off the soldier. The soldier's the one who hits pretty hard, so I really need to go before the soldier goes so I can finish him off. Alright, grape shot. Excellent. I hope the priest gets to go so I can throw in a heal. Do I heal this Plague Doctor? I think I gotta heal the Plague Doctor, much as I hate to do it, because I might need her in this last battle. Okay, so we're a bit battered here. My middle 2 guys in particular could stand to die. I could, of course, just abandon the mission, still make a decent amount of gold, 3,000, but we'll risk it. We're gonna go in, and hopefully it just won't be too hard of a battle. I don't mind losing the Plague Doctor. It sucks that that crit gave so much stress to these guys, but we're okay. Oh, the surprise is bad. Alright, what I need here is for the Plague Doctor to go before the Crusader so that she can do the switch place and the Crusader can actually attack. If the Crusader goes first and I lose his turn, that's going to be very unfortunate. Hand of Light. Well, there's no point switching places with the Plague Doctor, so I guess I might as well use this terrible skill. I could kill that rabble in one hit if I'm lucky. Let's go for it. Nope. Not a chance. Alright, so this guy's debuffed. I don't even know what the debuff does. That's such a bad skill. Alright, he can't Grape Shot. Switching places is bad because then the Crusader would be even farther away. So let's try to Pistol Shot. And I'm going to just go ahead and try to shoot the... Oh, I can't Pistol Shot the rabble because he's in the front row. That sucks. Well, let's hope I get very lucky and crit the soldier. Don't crit the soldier. I really need the soldier to die so that the crossbowman can't shoot shots anymore. Okay, this should kill the soldier as long as he gets blighted. But if the crossbowman goes, he will get to shoot a quarrel because this thing hasn't died yet. Please go and bleed out. Ah, excellent. So I'm actually going to shoot this thing to death because I really want to make sure the Arbalest doesn't get to quarrel. That has a high crit chance and it deals really good damage, but the bayonet jab deals almost no damage. Alright, so this guy's stressed into oblivion. Could be worse. Right, let's get to work on the Arbalest. I'm not too worried about this debuffed guy because he doesn't do much damage and he has weak accuracy thanks to that debuff. Alright, let's blight him. Finally, I can do a Zealous Accusation, kill them both, hopefully lose some stress. Alright. And we're going to win the mission, so I'm glad I decided to stick it out. The Bone Courier is dead, for sure. I will kill him just so I can get the stress relief. Nope, not a chance. These things, I think they relieve stress. So I'm gonna think, if I actually relieved stress, would I send Reynald back on another mission? Or should I send him to the bar to stress relief? Well, if I get a good frontline hero, then I'd rather just send Reynald and get some stress relief and put the stress healing from this altar on the Highwayman, who's at 31. But I might not get good heroes. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and have him take a drink. Oh, this doesn't even have stress relief, it's just money. Okay, well then, so yeah. That was a bunch of thinking for nothing. Okay, so thanks for watching this introductory quote-unquote video to Darkest Dungeon. Hopefully we'll make it through the first few missions without losing any heroes. That really is some of the hardest time in this game, is those first few missions where you can't buy your skills and you can't be assured of having good heroes come in through your stagecoach. Ouch. Ouch, nothing good came of that. But once we get past that, we should start cruising if I can live up to my bold claims that I'm actually good at this game now. So thanks for watching. Please like and or subscribe. And if you want to stick around, let's go ahead and do some post-mission cleanup. Let's check out, first of all, the stagecoach to see who came in. Oh, good. That's excellent. So the Cultist is trash, but we get the Hellion, who may be the single best class in the whole game. Definitely going to take that guy. And now I want to talk a little bit about strategy with the Abbey versus the Tavern. So the Tavern and the Abbey are both basically equivalent. Each one has 3 places where you can get stress relief. The top is the cheapest, the middle is the second cheapest, and the bottom one is the most expensive. Some quirks limit where a person can or cannot go, but by and large, it's pretty much exactly equivalent. The difference is how you upgrade them. So the Tavern is upgraded with crests and paintings. And then the Abbey is upgraded with crests and busts. Now, I thought you should initially I thought you should definitely go for the Abbey rather than the Tavern because the paintings are needed for the guild. However, what I find is that the guild, it doesn't actually take that many paintings at the end of the day to upgrade that thing fully. It's not crazy like the blacksmith is with the papers. So, in the end, I actually kind of ended up wishing I had spent some paintings on the Tavern because the busts are needed in the sanitarium for its upgrades. So it's a tough call where you want to go for. I'm still going to do the Abbey because I'm fine, taking a little bit longer on the sanitarium because, like I said, I just don't find that quirks matter very much. So having only one, being able to treat only one quirk at a time isn't that big of a deal to me, and paying more money to have to treat quirks isn't that big of a deal either, because honestly, like, if I have to just save up money for a while to get quirks treated, I'm okay with that. because I'll just deal with the quirks. They're not usually that big of a deal. So I'll go for the Abbey, and Renaud here is always God-fearing, which, you know, makes it tempting to upgrade the Transept, but I find that the middle thing is really just the worst one, because the upper one is great because it's cheap, and if you upgrade it enough, it'll, you know, heal enough stress, and then the bottom one does the most, so if you ever get somebody up to 100, it's nice that you've upgraded the bottom one. But the middle one is just sort of like, so I really don't like doing it even for Renaud's sake. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to upgrade the Transept. I'm just going to stick Renaud here and pay the full money to relieve his stress. This Plague Doctor can go die in a fire for all I care, so I'm not concerned about her. The next mission is going to be a couple of Highwaymen, a healer, and the Hellion, and this is that kind of sensitive mission where you still haven't gotten to buy the good skills, so you might be screwed with bad stuff. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that's fantastic. Wow. So all we're missing here is Breakthrough that we don't want to use. Breakthrough doesn't really get that good until the Barbarian's been leveled up and has higher damage. Because basically taking a huge penalty to damage and dodge to only deal like less than half of your initial damage to begin with starts out being a pretty bad deal. But this is great that we have the Yop, the Bleeds, and the Hack. Those are the key skills for the Barbarian. And then the Iron Swan is whatever, it's fine. Let's take a look at what Samari got us. Here we got Grape Shot, which is very good. Pistol Shot. The Open Vein's not the greatest. What I play with is Point Blank Shot and Duelist Advance. But with that said, it's more of a flavor thing. I like being able to back up if I ever end up being first because I'm surprised. And deal a ton of damage in the meantime. But it's fine. The Grape Shot and the Pistol Shot are the important things so that you can, you know, shoot it at stuff far away from the back, or just do this, which is the ability that you'll use most of the time. So that was actually pretty lucky. I'm feeling pretty good about this. As long as the squishiness of these Highwaymen doesn't screw me over, we should be fine. So I'll see you guys again soon. Take care.